Yeah. Hi, everyone. Welcome to this week's Short Attention Span webinar. This week, again, this is the fourth in the series of 4 on ideas for your next sales meeting. I think my blog this week, Kelly, I think this is when it lands, because this should be, the first Friday in November, I believe. But I think this is the week where my blog is about a culture of feedback. A culture of feedback. And I'll let you read that blog. But essentially, it's how to work in an environment where you are safe enough to ask for and receive feedback. So the question today is, how can your company, in the sales meeting that you're in right now, how can you develop a culture of feedback? So go ahead and stop the video if you want to talk about it, and then come on back. Okay, welcome back. That didn't take long. It's like being under anesthesia. Just blink and you're back. So, Kelly, what are your thoughts on that? How do you create a culture of feedback?
Well, I think what's really great about this topic is that, to me, the first clarification is, are we talking about internal feedback among our coworkers and peers, or are we talking about with clients? So if you're talking internally, yeah, I mean, some of the things that would first come to the top of my head would be regular reviews,
okay,
regular production meetings, and just the we really have to model this behavior from the top down.
Bingo.
The owner has to be, owner, president, CEO, whoever,
yep,
has to be the kind of person that is willing to give and receive.
Yeah.
That kind, any kind of information that, and again, I think what you said at the top that's really important is that it's safe.
Right.
That there are no consequences,
yeah,
to negative consequences to airing a thought or an idea or a complaint or a problem or anything, that whatever it is, when it's all said in the spirit of we all want to be better,
right,
that everybody, again, from CEO to guy who empties garbage, is respected and heard, and that we always remember that we're all on the same team and we all want the same things.
There's a really good book that I may have mentioned in some past content called the Assertiveness Handbook, and it talks about facing difficult situations, having difficult conversations. And this is one of them, because, if you're not happy, let's suppose there's another sales rep that you're working with that you're really not happy with, you're not really getting along. If you don't address it, then your tendency is going to be to make a side comment in a meeting or something biting to another person. And that's not only wrong, it's going to come back and bite you.
And it's just not who you want to be.
No.
You just don't want to be that person.
No. And, like the 4 agreements, one of the 4 agreements is don't make any assumptions. So you might be making an assumption like, I don't like this way that guy looked at me. And you come to find out that you got a speeding ticket on the way into work today. It had nothing to do with you.
Right.
Right? Or maybe it does, but then you say, what's the problem? So for a great first starting point, Kelly, start from the top down. Imagine being in this meeting that you're in right now as a sales manager or the owner and saying, okay, guys, we'll start with me. Give me some feedback on my management style. Give me some feedback on how we work together, how we communicate together, and be specific and have examples. And if you don't want to do it right now in a group, do it individually. If you want to think about it, that's fine.
Right.
But the goal of feedback is to make each other better.
Mm-hmm.
Make each other better. And I point this out in the blog, but Katie, who works at Apple, you could never say anything negative to her. Now you can say anything because she understands that that's the goal. And she said, Dad, at Apple, we work in a culture of feedback. So what else did I have?
Well, I think the other thing about, you said the very, very important word is to be specific.
Yeah.
And the second thing that's really important is to be timely. Please, once you've cultivated this and you're operating in it all the time, the important thing is don't come and say, 4 weeks ago you ... Right? It should be, it just happened.
Right.
So it has to be immediate. And it has to be, and it should be actionable. So what's the takeaway? What's the learning? What's the teachable moment that we had? And what would we do differently next time? Right. So those are all the things that have to come with the feedback and kind of the steps beyond it. Is I'm constantly doing this, and I do it with my kids, and I do it with myself too. Is how would I have done this differently? What should I have said?
Yeah.
And the other thing, again, in terms of our egos and things, is to be able to hear it, even if it's constructive and even if it hurts, and to be able to say, I had no idea that I did that to you, and I'm really sorry.
And thank you.
Yes.
And thank you for telling me.
Yeah.
I might not agree with you, but thank you for telling me.
Right.
Okay, that's it. So we'll start another subject next week. I've already got it written down, as a matter of fact. Ooh. And so, Kelly, start thinking about more bright stuff to say.
Can't wait.
And we'll talk to you all next week. By the way, thank you, Kelly.
Thank you, Bill.
And we'll talk to you all next week at another short attention span webinar.